Hey guys, welcome to day 19. Today we're going to talk about slope-intercept form of linear equations. So the slope-intercept form is in the form of y is equal to mx plus b, where m is the slope and the b is what we call the y-intercept, okay? All right. Now the x and the y that are in there are actually just ordered pairs, okay? Think about it. If you have an input-output table, okay, your x is your input and your y is your output, okay? So that's why our y-intercept is actually called b. It's not called the y. All right. So um, slope-intercept form is in the form of y equals mx plus b. So if we look at an equation that's already in that form, notice y equals mx plus b, we can easily pull out the slope, but just by looking at the coefficient in front of the x. So the coefficient in front of the x would be 2, so that would be the slope. And the b, or the y-intercept, is plus 5, so it would be a positive 5. If we looked at the second example, it's already in slope-intercept form for us, so the coefficient before the x would be 1/2, and the y-intercept would be, in this case, a negative 2. All right, so I want to make special attention to the 1/2 x because you could actually see something like this where it's x divided by 2 minus 2. Okay, in that case, that's equivalent to y is equal to 1/2 x minus 2. So if you ever do see that, notice you can pull out the coefficient by simply putting a 1 over it. So it's equivalent to 1/2 x minus 2. All right, if I looked at number 3, y equals 4x, well, that's really 4x plus 0, okay? So our slope here is 4, and our y-intercept is 0. So we're actually going to cross the, it's going to cross the y-axis right at the origin, okay? So that's what the y-intercept is, where it crosses the y-axis. All right, so looking at the next example, y is equal to 10. That's actually a special case, and this is how we get you to think of the acronym HOI. All right, y equals. Notice we have y equals, and then there's just a constant. Well, that means it's a horizontal line. Okay, remember we said that's what the H stands for. It helps us remember it's a horizontal line, and the 0 slope. So therefore, our slope is 0. And our y-intercept is just going to be the 10 because y is equal to 10. All right, so that's actually a horizontal line. And if we graphed it, it would be up here at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, it's just a horizontal line like that. Okay. All right, and you could also think of it as y is equal to 0x plus 10. So actually in that form, there you have your 0 slope. All right, looking at number 5, we're in slope-intercept form. Our slope is -6. Our y-intercept is +3. And then 6, here's another special case. So this time I'm going to think of Vux because notice x equals, and here we have x equals. Okay, so that means it's a vertical line. And in this case, the slope is undefined. All right, so we have an undefined slope. Now, the y-intercept, so if I graph this, all right, at x is -2, it's a vertical line, you're going to notice that line is never going to cross the y-axis. So our b is none, okay? So there's no, you're not going to say 0, it's just that it's none because 0 would be going through right here, okay, at the origin. All right, so there is no y-intercept. All right, let's look at number 7, 8, 9. Now notice, okay, sometimes, all right, you're not going to always be in slope-intercept form, but we can use the golden rule of algebra to put it into slope-intercept form. Just means we need to rearrange it. So we're going to solve for y. All right, think of it like a literal equation. Our whole goal is to get y by itself. So here we have our y. In this case, we want to add 2x to both sides. Now, as soon as I add the 2x, I'm actually going to put it in the form of y equals mx plus b. And right there, I can pull out my slope is 2. My y-intercept is -8. All right. Number 8, if I get y by itself, I'm going to start out by subtracting 2. And I get 4y is equal to 8x minus 2. okay? But I need to solve for y, so I'm going to divide everything by 4, okay? Which is equivalent to y is equal to 8/4 x minus 2/4, which can simplify to be y is equal to 2x minus 1/2. So our slope now is 2. Our y-intercept is negative 1/2. Okay. Number 9, I get y by itself by subtracting x from both sides. 5y is equal to a negative x plus 10. And then when I divide both sides by 5, my y is equal to negative x fifths, or we can write it as negative 1/5 x plus 10/5, which is 2. So our slope is a negative 1/5 and our y-intercept is 2. All right, so at any point, please pause the video and maybe try some on your own. Okay, so looking at 10, 11, 12, maybe this is a good chance to try them. Okay, or at least number 10. So I'm going to start. You can pause it and then start it. Okay, here we go. So this would be 10y equals negative 5x minus 20. And then I divide both sides by 10. Y is equal to negative 5/10 x minus 20/10, which it can simplify to be y is equal to negative 1/2 x minus 2. So my slope is negative 1/2. My y-intercept is a negative 2. Remember, I'll put it up here, slope-intercept form. Okay, now 11 is going to be a special case because we just have an x variable. So when I divide both sides by negative 8, I get x is equal to 3. I'm going to think of x, okay, because I know x equals, and here we have x equals. That means my slope is undefined, and my y-intercept is none. Okay, again, that's just going to be a vertical line, and in this case, if we did graph it, it would be at 3 and would be going up and down like that. Okay, another special case for 12, we divide both sides by 3 and y is equal to 4. So now I'm going to think of y. Because y is equal to 4, it's a horizontal line. My slope is 0, my y-intercept is 4. Okay, all right, so moving along. Now let's try to graph some of these. Okay, so I'm going to just make this a little bit bigger. So I have a bigger screen. I don't want to cut anything off here. Okay, so we're going to write the actual equation here, all right, by looking at it and identifying the slope and the y-intercept. So the first thing I'm going to do is look at the y-intercept. I find that's easier for me. So right here is the y-intercept. It's where it crosses the y-axis. It's also where it's crossing the x-axis, but either way, the y-intercept is at 0. It's at the origin. Now the slope, I'm actually going to pick another point. Okay, maybe I pick this point right here, where you cross you have a grid mark and it's crossing right at that point. Okay, so I can determine that that point is actually 2, 2. Or I can think of my rise is positive 2 and my run is also positive 2. So this would be 2 over 2, which would be equal to 1. So my slope is 1. And that works for each ordered pair. If I rise 1 and run 1, I'm going to end up on the line. Okay, so once I have the slope and the y-intercept, I can easily write the equation. I'm going to put it in the form of y is equal to mx plus b. All right, in this case, my y is equal to 1x, so I'm just going to write x plus 0. Well, I'm not going to write plus 0, so there's my equation. All right, so 14, I'm going to first identify my y-intercept. That looks to be at a negative 2. And then I'm going to calculate the slope. So I'm going to look for another place where it's crossing right there. I'm going to put down the 2 points. I'm going to do my rise is 1, 2, 3. So that's 3. And my run is actually going to go to the left 2. So it's a negative 2. So my slope is negative 3/2. Okay. So, and I verify that by looking at the slope. Yes, it is negative. All right. So my equation is y is equal to negative 3/2 x minus 2. Okay. All right. Let's look at a couple of the special cases that we have. All right. Here we have a horizontal line. Again, I think of y. My slope is 0. Okay. All right. My y-intercept, if I look at it, is at 1, 2, 3. Okay, and this y equals tells me what my equation is going to start with. It starts with y equals, all right, so this is the equation, and then my y value is just equal to 3. So there's my answer. All right, number 16, I have a vertical line, so I'm going to think of vux. So I know my slope is undefined, and my y-intercept is none. Okay, but when I solve it here, or when I look at it, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we know my x is equal to 6, and because it's vux, my equation starts with x equals, and I just count up to 6. X is equal to 6. All right, and that equation makes a vertical line. All right, that's it for today. I hope you guys have good luck and do 19B. Thanks. Bye-bye.